The two Congos are separated by the river Congo, and one could cross it in just 5 minutes, really. So we boarded this boat that has a little bit of a pirate boat feel about it. On the DR Congo side, we saw lots of wooden canoes that looked like people made them by hollowing tree trunks, like in the prehistoric times. The view on the Congo Republic side was very different. Congo-Brazzaville is a rich and technologically developed country, especially in comparison to most other African countries. For example, the country has a nationally available online state services portal where people can pay taxes, set up doctor's appointments, register their business, and so on. They've got their own e-markets called Congo Shop and Congo Market. Many international market lenders have offices here, among them Samsung, Shell, and Volkswagen. For the sake of comparing DR Congo and Congo-Brazzaville, we made a stop in Brazzaville's typical residential area. Overall impression is that people dress better and the local taxi cabs are newer and nicer, not so run down. Some cars are brand new. Speaking of trash on the ground, there is some here and there, but not so much as in DR Congo, where they've got piles of trash covering the ground. Here, you can see some plastic bottles on the ground, but not so many. Of course, they've got dust and sand here too, and the local cafes look quite similar, but taking a walk here in Brazzaville is not a problem. I mean, of course, you can take a walk in Kinshasa as well, but when you're there, it's always a bit tense, especially if you want to film things. In Brazzaville, however, I'm filming this street right now and I don't have any locals accompanying me for safety reasons, and no one has said a word to me so far. If I were in Kinshasa, I'd have already run into some locals who'd shout at me for filming them. But cab drivers like to honk in both countries. The traffic in Congo-Brazzaville is better organized than in Kinshasa, but honking is something drivers like to do on both sides of the Congo River.
Таксисты гудеть любят 100%.
GDP per capita in Congo-Brazzaville is about $2,450, while DR Congo's is around 700, and that's among the lowest numbers in the world. The difference is dramatic, and yet Congo-Brazzaville is way behind even such countries as Moldova. However, it's doing pretty good against the rest of the continent. The average expectancy rate in the Congo Republic is 64 years, and only 60 years in DR Congo. The difference is not that big, and both countries are way behind European nations where people live until well into their 80s. Electricity is available to about 50% of the population of Congo-Brazzaville and only to 19% of people in DR Congo. Poverty rate in Brazzaville is 46% against 73% in DR Congo. You might wonder why there is such a big difference. The countries are located next to each other and even have similar names. One reason is the size. The larger the country, the harder it is to manage. DR Congo is huge. It's Africa's second largest country, while Congo-Brazzaville is a tiny country with an area close to that of Finland. Reason number 2 is oil. Congo-Brazzaville has lots of oil, while DR Congo has next to none. The third reason is history. DR Congo has a history full of endless wars, invasions, and conflicts that have taken a tremendous toll on its people. In 1885, the leaders of the Western powers got together in Berlin to divide Africa, including Congo. There, the Congo Kingdom was divided into 3 parts. Portugal got its part of the Congo that became Angola. Belgium got the Belgian Congo that is now the DRC. And the French got the part that is now the Republic of the Congo. So, colonization began in 1885, and the local people had to fight for their liberation until they achieved independence. Congo was one of Africa's last countries colonized by Europeans, mostly because of dense tropical forests, malaria, sleeping sickness, and local tribes. But then one day, a guy showed up who was like a historical version of Van Pelt, the hunter in Jumanji, and made a deal with the locals, or rather with their kings, to pay them a lot of money in exchange for their agreement to accept Leopold II of Belgium as the owner of their lands. And he made it happen. He even managed to convince the international community that Congo is not going to be a colony, but rather His Majesty's personal estate. You know, like a summer house or a garage. The new country was called Congo Free State. Leopold II was a cunning fox. He promoted an image of himself as a hero who is against slavery and a champion of progress, bringing aid to Africa and blessings of civilization. He owned all the newspapers and sponsored international conferences and books that further pushed his image of a good king. There were posters, booklets, and whatnot. A powerful propaganda machine was supporting this image. They published false statistics telling tales of new schools and new roads built. They engaged celebrities to go on tours of Africa telling people how great King Leopold was. But the true reason he wanted Congo was this. Congo was home to many elephants, so hunting them for their precious ivory tusks and trading them for gold was one perfect business. It was also home to many rubber trees, source of a natural rubber. The automobile industry recently started to make progress and demand for car tires was skyrocketing. Harvesting rubber for free and selling it for gold was another perfect business. What about workforce? The locals will do, both adults and kids. King Leopold II sent some of his troops to force the local populations to work. They set enormous daily rubber harvesting requirements for the locals. Those who didn't agree got killed. After all, it was the king's summer estate, so he could do as he pleased. And Leopold's men were told not only to kill the rebels, they also had to cut off their hands as proof to show their superiors. The soldiers got paid for every hand they cut off. And guess what the soldiers started doing? They simply attacked villages, chopping off hands of the locals and taking them to their superiors. The locals quickly understood what was going on and started attacking neighboring villages, harvesting human hands to offer to the soldiers instead of their own. A severed hand became currency. People used severed hands to trade with the soldiers. The soldiers themselves used hands to trade for things among themselves. Sometimes parents chopped off their children's hands to keep their own so they could keep working. Here's one of the most famous photographs of that time. A father is looking at his daughter's hands, chopped off in punishment for his failure to harvest enough rubber. Of course, all this was concealed by Leopold's propaganda. The king had imposed the strictest kind of censorship on the news from Congo so that no one would know what was going on in the colony. King Leopold got exceedingly rich. And can you guess what he spent a lot of money on, or rather who? His young mistress, Josephine Delacroix. He was 65, she was 16. When they met, she was a prostitute, but suddenly they developed a passionate affair that lasted for years until Leopold died. The Belgian press even reported that Josephine perversely pleasured the old king with the help of specially arranged mirrors and special equipment. He gave her an estate in front of his palace called the Palace of Laeken, and even had a footbridge built to connect the two palaces. He gave her a village in the Côte d'Azur. She could easily spend 3 million francs on a single dress in Paris. Once, she complained to Leopold that the evening train from Paris to Brussels leaves too early, disrupting her shopping, and the king had the train's timetable extended by an hour. And then he had a new railroad built passing by her house. Meanwhile, the people of Congo had already lost millions of their hands. During the 23 years of the Congo Free State's existence, between 3 and 10 million people died at the hands of the colonizers.
Are you subscribed to our channel? Not yet? The sad thing is that Anton can't go on his next adventure until you do. So pretty please, subscribe now. That's right. Go ahead, click subscribe. Well done and thank you. We can continue now.
Kinshasa streets are flooded with people. Carnival begins. Look at these drums, and just look at these guys. These guys are, in fact, wrestlers. And they're not just any wrestlers, but voodoo wrestlers. They draw their power not only from their muscles, but also from somewhere beyond this world. Each of them has a way of contacting spirits. And the day of the fight is when they let those spirits inside their bodies. You can watch this process live. Look at this guy. He's clearly in very good contact with his spirit. And naturally, people gather around them, people follow them, applaud them, and they start dancing too. These guys are local celebrities. They are now on their way to an arena where a series of fights will take place later today, and we'll all find out who it is that spirits really favor. The traffic is temporarily closed, the cars are waiting for the procession to pass, people are marching to the music, drummers and horns are playing a cheerful tune. Look at all the incredible dancing. This guy in a skirt is going all out dancing. Look at his moves. Whoa, look, the other one climbed on top of a taxi cab, and then he grabbed a kid and put him next to him. The kid is simply in shock. Look at what he's doing. He just chose a random car to climb on it. They just climbed on top of somebody's car, and you know what? The driver doesn't mind. He says, fine, I'm only happy to give the wrestlers a ride. Why not?
Я только за, типа, знаешь, благое дело провести рестлеров.
So, a crowd of people now climbs on top of this car, including musicians, the horn players and the drummers, everyone. The wrestler keeps showering himself with chalk powder. This is something else. I'm in shock.
Это просто бомба. Я просто в шоке.
Look, this car's top has caved in under all these people. It's an old car and the roof is caved so much I wonder if it's going to fall in. But no, it stays in place and the procession moves on with the car carrying all these people. This crowd is moving towards the square where the arena is being set up, and some wrestlers are already in the locker room getting ready for the fight. Look at this guy. He looks like he's ready to kill in a military uniform. Special tall boots. Next to him is another big guy, an albino. And when I look at his eyes, it gives me the creeps. Every one of these fighters is doing something different to get into a trance and draw more energy from it. The guy in that corner pees into a bottle and then drinks his own pee. Another man is wearing a leopard mask covering his face. There is a man who, I don't know, ate or drank something because his eyes are moving so fast I'm wondering if they're going to pop out. This chap over here, I don't even know what's going on with him. Just look, he just sat down and seems to have gone into some state. Just look at them. One man is standing there and he's wrapping some cloth around his undies, and that's his way of tapping into superpowers. The guy sitting next to him is already shaking. You can see he's going into a trance. He's going into a trance and seeing his stare, I think it's a good idea not to talk to him or ask him any questions to be on the safe side. He's already decorated himself with some bits of straw, as you can see, and gradually, he's going into a trance before he goes into his full fighting mode. What really took me by surprise is that all these guys are quite friendly to each other while preparing for the fight. They all share one locker room. This man, for example, is DR Congo's Voodoo wrestling champion and the most respected guy here. He's been fighting since 1992. We don't injure or maim each other here. Our single goal is to make a spectacular show of a fight. We use the laws of physics to attack our opponent in a most impressive way, to give a great show. We're actually all friends here. So it's nothing like MMA, and there's going to be no carnage here. Voodoo wrestlers provide entertainment for the public, and this carnival is also part of the show. The crowd is now marching with the car while it's moving fairly slowly. Whoa, here, this guy says I can get a ride on a bike. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get on the bike. And this procession is no longer just a crowd of people walking, it's got a caravan that's carrying the wrestlers on a car, and a number of bikes are accompanying them, while the kids are running behind. It's super crazy. Everyone's just letting themselves go. Someone's shouting, others are making noise, everyone's having fun like, let's all run together because this guy in his amazing pink undies drank his urine, so that for sure means it's gonna be fun, and that guy will make your time worthwhile. Look, they keep running without stopping to take a breath, all these kids. My bike is cut in front of the car. Woo! And you know what? Now it's my turn to get on top of the car, and I hope this won't be the last straw. Now we're talking. Now I am a fully functional member of this parade. This is one hell of a parade, I say. It blows my mind.
Слушай, ты себя чувствуешь просто
There's no way you don't feel like a superstar with this guy in the pink undies literally hitting your head with his crotch. But overall, atmosphere is amazing. The entire city is here. People are watching, waving their hands, greeting the wrestlers. They're whistling, shouting, and it all comes together to create a supercharged festival vibe. At some point, I even thought that it's good enough without the promised fighting. It's just fun enough to ride around the town like this. I think it's super fun. The way he's standing up there looking forward gives such strong vibes, like he just won the World Cup and he's come home to celebrate. And all the people in town have come to say, "Well done, buddy, we're proud of you." Well, of course, look at what he's really doing up there. No doubt he's a gifted dancer, and as I watch his moves, I start thinking maybe he's getting indeed some superpower from those pink rags he wrapped around his undies, because he's rocking it like a real superstar. Isn't this awesome? I say it is. It's simply fucking amazing. I totally recommend this experience. It's more fun than getting drunk, even more fun than ziplining down a big mountain hill. The adrenaline is pumping. What a totally awesome way to have fun. It might appear as if the entire affair is not very serious, but the truth is that these fighters take their workouts and prepping routines very seriously. Each of them has a coach that teaches them different martial arts. I am a senior coach at 4 wrestling clubs, and I'm their president as well. I teach my students jiu-jitsu, karate, boxing, and wrestling. This is Coach Jidana. He invited us to visit him at home, and we thought that the president of 4 wrestling clubs would probably live in a pretty chic place, but the reality proved to be different. This is a fairly typical working man's house in DR Congo. That is, someone whose income puts them below middle class. Starting with this terrace, you can see how things are organized here. The terrace serves both as the kitchen and the laundry room. They do laundry and wash dishes all in the same place. Now, let's take a look inside the house. It accommodates 3 families, including this good lady. This room here is what they call the parlor. In other words, well, you could say this is the living room where they watch TV and spend time together.
Где они смотрят телевизор, собираются.
And this is what the bedroom looks like. They gave me permission to take a look. Look, they put a tarpaulin banner on the floor to keep the bed dry. It also probably makes sleeping on the concrete floor a little bit more tolerable. They threw a mattress on top and some cushions. Next to the bed, there is a suitcase where they keep their clothes in absence of a closet. And that's it. That's how people live. That is, in general, the situation. It is very modest, to say the least, and this is what the house looks like. This house is located on the outskirts of the city, and Zidana chose this place on purpose because this is where most of the wrestling clubs are located. We are now in Kinshasa's slums. Why? The answer is because the wrestlers prefer to train here. And that's because this here is a fairly remote and secluded place. It's far away from the center. So they can enjoy more freedom as to what they do. No one here pays any special attention to what they do, and so they can do here anything that, as they say, helps them connect with the spirits that give them their energy and all the power they use while fighting. Speaking of energy, the local vibe is really strong. This place is like a snapshot of everything typical in Kinshasa. The only modern amenity they have here is electricity. There is no tap water in houses. They only have street water pipes, and women have to keep carrying giant heavy tanks of water home on their heads. While the woman is carrying water home, her man is sitting fiddling with his bike. Each house has a lot of kids. Here's one of the houses. While the mother is doing laundry, the little guy is staying home waiting till his parents are ready and dry. Check out this Dior curtain, by the way. The kid thinks he's all covered up. And then it was my turn to freak out when I saw this shaman appear from behind the laundry, all covered in ashes, with a string of seashells around his neck with some doll in his hands. He lives here too, next door to these people, and uses his room to give energy charging seances to wrestlers on fight days. If you come to me, you'll get real power. The power of wind and sand, the power of our ancestors. I can give this power to any fighter who comes to me. I will double and triple his power, and he will surely win.
Guys, if you like my video and if you like what we're doing, I would really appreciate if you support us on Patreon, on Pioneer, or on PayPal, and we try to make even more great films from new dangerous places for you. Thank you. All the links are in the description. Please donate.
All this amazing and diverse life seems to be taking place in a huge garbage dump. I mean, people keep their houses clean, but they do dump all their waste right outside. Look at this alley. It's covered by a thick layer of flat plastic bottles instead of asphalt. Kids are playing with a ball made of tightly rolled plastic bags. Here, someone made a face mask out of waste, and another one, both a work of art. We want to draw attention to the problem of pollution. This is a very urgent problem in DR Congo, as you can see for yourself. We want more people to become aware of this problem. We want to help people realize how big and serious this problem is for the whole world and for our country. This is DR Congo's own art quarter. These guys create real works of art out of practically anything. There is so much garbage in Kinshasa that they have made a whole gallery featuring these huge full-size costumes like this made out of garbage. Some of these costumes made appearances at the globally recognized biennial art festivals. For example, the creators of this costume live in Paris, and in order to make it, they started by collecting 5,000 empty tin cans. The costume is made of 1,900 cans, and it took them like 3 months. And honestly, I'm simply in awe looking at the costumes they have here. Look, for example, this costume made of countless pieces of plastic bags for potato chips, Cheetos, and all sorts of other packed snacks. This one is made of plastic green bags. This one is made of flattened plastic bottles. There are so many empty bottles in Kinshasa that I think one could dress an entire army of people in such costumes, like millions of them. And here is my favorite. It's a costume made out of bottle caps. Check it out. A total of about 2,000 caps are fitted onto a wireframe, and it looks absolutely freaking awesome. Here is a man getting helped into a costume that's made out of toothbrushes. It's all toothbrushes. Can you imagine? And they're all used toothbrushes. They seem to be really worn out. Isn't it mind-blowing? I mean, a full-size suit made out of toothbrushes, all of it. And while this man is getting into the suit, look, even the shoes are covered with toothbrushes. Wow! Imagine how many teeth have been brushed by these brushes before they ended up here. And now look at these amazing costumes. I had asked for permission to try them on. I mean, look, this is the awesome costume that I missed wearing to my prom. And this is my wedding suit. I just hope I won't cut myself. Now this is the most awesome shirt. This is the shirt that I have to have when I was a kid. Vote for me, your candidate in the pending Congo election.
quand on commençait par la musique, d'abord, les danses. On faisait la rythme américain, on dansait par-ci, par-là, par des festivals, à l'école. Et quand on se disait que nous-mêmes, on va commencer à faire notre propre chanson. C'est pour cela qu'on a fait des groupes là.
However, all these costumes are only the second most mind-blowing sight around here. The ultimate winners in this contest are the guys I already mentioned briefly at the beginning of this report, the Sapeurs. Remember how much each of their outfits is worth? It's usually enough to buy a house or two. There are many clothing brands. We pick only the most expensive ones. Our outfits are very, very expensive. For example, this outfit of yours, how much is it? Everything I'm wearing now costs 3.5 million. But of course, it's a Kenzo jacket, a Kenzo tie. This tie-pin as well, it costs 75,000 and it's made of gold. Then Kenzo pants, and everything I'm wearing is by Kenzo. What about your watch? It's De Chache. My outfit is by Roberto Cavalli. It's an Italian luxury clothing brand and it's very expensive. I'm wearing a Cavalli suit and my tie's from London. It's English style. My sunshades are by Calvin Klein and they are some of the priciest in the world. The total cost of what I'm wearing is 4.8 million francs. And what do you do in life? I'm a plumber. I'm a house painter. I'm a real estate agent. Is it true that some Sapeurs get bank loans to buy a suit? It's true that some even sell their land to afford what they desire, because our clothes are what bring us joy. It's like a religion or an incurable disease, when you have to take pills all the time to live. And our pills are our clothes, you see? A person with an incurable disease keeps seeing the doctors to get their pills, and our pills are the things we wear. When we dress up, we feel like we're in heaven, like we're walking on clouds with angels. Le Sapeur, the movement that unites the Sapeurs or dandies of Congo, is indeed akin to a religion. There are about 6,000 Sapeurs in Kinshasa and Brazzaville, and it's a closed community with its own traditions and rules. They don't just accept anyone. There are only 3 colors. We don't wear many colors to look like a rainbow, no. We know the rainbow is a God's creation, but we follow the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So we only wear 3 colors. You see? That's why it's really a kind of religion for us, and others may try to add things. How can I become a Sapeur? For example, if I wanted to become one, what should I do? You need to learn. There is a lot of theory and many rules to follow. First, you have to know fashion. Then you have to know how to combine fabrics and choose the 3 colors. Then there are more details: how to tie a tie, how to wear a pocket square, how to iron a suit and a shirt. And the most important thing, you have to have 3 pairs of shoes and at least 3 suits, 3 jackets, and at least 10 shirts. Then you will be accepted. These guys' big dream is to get noticed in Europe, to have the world's most famous fashion designers appreciate their looks and swagger, and maybe even to start their own clothing brand. But so far, it has not really worked out. One of the reasons being that Africa is still seen by many in the more developed parts of the world as a continent good enough only for robbing its resources. Here is one example that speaks books: local gas prices. If you recall, Congo-Brazzaville has plenty of oil, but almost all of it is exported. 95% of the republic's total oil output goes to China, Europe, and the United States. Now, let's see how much the locals have to pay for their gas. Here's how much people pay in Brazzaville per gallon: $4.7. Now, let's compare it with pricing in the countries importing Congolese oil: $4.4 in China and $3.3 in the United States. So, if you think of it, Congo-Brazzaville is selling its most precious resource to other nations while its own population has to pay more for it than people in foreign countries. A century of colonial rule, with all the damage it inflicted, has affected DR Congo's people, making them capable of bearing with any injustice and surviving in any situation. Here, for example, there's a little island right in the middle of the Congo River separating Brazzaville and Kinshasa, and we found people there who built their houses literally out of nothing. This is a local fishing village, and this man here has built a 2-level house with his own hands. This is his family here. He has 4 children. He lives on this island to be able to fish here every day. He also builds canoes. And look at the house he's built all by himself. He lives here with his wonderful family. These beautiful 4 kids live here. Look at these amazingly handsome kids. So they all live here in this house that their daddy has built with his own hands, out of nothing, using these palm trees that grow here. What's more, he planted his own vegetable garden. He has these edible plants growing here. When they're ready, they'll crush them into a powder and cook them like a stew or porridge. That's what they have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. The big city is right across the river with its skyscrapers and cars, but the man couldn't find himself a place there, so he just crossed the river and settled here, and even managed to create some comfort for himself and his family. The owner gave us permission to film inside. Here he has this ladder that makes me admire his skills. So you use it to go up and through here, and we find ourselves in this hospitable man's private quarters. There's a pretty large room here, and he obviously did a very good job building it. So this is the master bedroom. He's got some foam sheets on the floor, so you lie down and it's fine. It's very soft, in fact, pretty comfy, I'd say. And this is where he sleeps with his wife. And this is here yet another room he built with his own hands, literally out of nothing, out of pieces of board he found and some logs. I look up and I see the roof, which is made of metal sheets, by the way. And the other bedroom is for the children. Here is a mosquito net, and all 4 of them can fit under it. All 4 kids sleep in this room. And that's not all, folks. This guy isn't just crafty, he loves his comfort and enjoys life. He also built a terrace, this terrace here, with a totally amazing view of the river. You can see it in the distance. You can hang your clothes to dry here and chill out, sitting outside. And he even got himself a TV set somewhere. Look, a real TV. In addition to the TV, he made himself a radio. He got this thing for a loudspeaker and he connected all the equipment to these solar panels. I say, this guy is an incredible person. They say a lot depends on the environment, but the more I travel, the more I get convinced that everything is in our hands. If you want to, you can build a 2-level house on a deserted island. The festival sweeps away everything in its path. People either make way for it or jump right in. There were some guys playing soccer on this field, but the wrestlers and their fans couldn't care less, because it's showtime. The first bout begins, and one of the guys clearly seems to be a beginner. The guy without a t-shirt starts destroying him from step 1. The newbie tries to escape the ring, but his opponent catches him on the ground and has no wish to spare him at all. First, he throws him into the support pole, and then he throws him back into the ring. And then, the newbie comes around as if by magic. He delivers a punch with both feet and wins some time, and goes on to push his opponent into the ropes. The second to enter the ring is the albino guy, wearing a royal crown. It is immediately obvious that the chances are not equal. His opponent is dressed in what looks like a priest's robe and a hat, but when he takes him off, he doesn't look like he can last long. The king immediately seizes the initiative and begins to push around his opponent, but then a miracle happens. The skinny priest pushes him away with the power of his mind. He yells and waves his arms so convincingly that for a second you begin to believe it's magic. Then he picks up some book and starts reading a spell, and just look at his acting skills and special effects. But the big guy isn't ready to give up. When the priest runs out of his voodoo, the albino brings some kind of smoking horn and knocks his opponent out. After such a dramatic fight full of magic, I suggest we take a break before we watch the final bouts of the evening.
Wow!
It's got mayo in it! Anything with mayo tastes good. I am about to try a super traditional local dish. This thing is called kwanga. It looks like slices of something, I don't know, bland and something that's not even food. Maybe slices of shoe sole, I don't know, or dried up porridge or something, I don't know. Oh, fuck. I'd have to smell it. Now the fly is sitting on it, right? Thanks. Ew. It smells of a pig. You know the smell when you enter a pigsty, and that's exactly what this food smells like. And this kwanga is something the locals really like. Thank God they don't understand what I'm saying right now, because honestly, I can't get the fun of it. While they obviously do like it, it's a traditional side dish. Sort of like we like to have rice with meat or sometimes pasta. And these guys like this stuff that smells of pigs. Crap! It's very, very bad. I'm telling you no shit, it's sour and it sticks to your teeth. It makes me think of someone's dried up vomit. Like they took this horrible stuff and gave it to me. Here, dude, eat this. Not my thing, at all. I understand it's the stuff they eat instead of bread. It's cheaper and it's made of cassava. I have no idea what it is. I just know it's not my kind of food. Nope. I better have some chicken now. So here, I've got chicken with onions, and anything with onions and mayo is looking good to me. I don't even think twice. I eat it. Now we're talking. This is amazing. It's a little smoky. Very nice. Oh my god, this is heaven. It's delicious grilled chicken with onions. So good. It's so good. I don't care about things like whether the guy who cooked it washed his hands and what he did with his hands before cooking. I don't care at all. This tastes amazing. I'll have this juicy bit. You know, I don't even mind having some of this kwanga with it. The chicken's taste is so rich that the taste of kwanga won't matter. Yep, it's good. And now, my friends, it's time for the two final bouts. The many-time champion in a mask stands to lose his amazing belt, and just look at his opponent. This is the dancing guy who got the crowd going during the march, and he's still dancing in the ring. It looks like it's some kind of magic too. He shoots invisible arrows at the opponent and tries to crush him with his energy, but the champion doesn't give up and goes on to kick him off the stage, the arena. Then 3 or 4 more guys jump into the ring, and our brave champion throws them all out of the ring as well. The audience is ecstatic. Their all-time favorite wrestler is keeping his belt. And now, the big finale of the evening. These are 2 real stars of African voodoo wrestling. Check out, one of them is armed with 2 crosses, and the other's assistant has some statue at the ready. The 2 begin the fight on equal footing, but at some point, the statue appears in the ring. Look, he's produced his superpower, this statue that must help him defeat the enemy in no time. Look at him. He places the statue wrapped in cloth on the floor and he's tapping it.
Oh, whoa, whoa!
Spectacular! everyone's in awe. Everyone's like, whoa, what happened? What happened? Was this lightning that just hit the ring? Everyone's grabbing their heads like, oh my god, what was it? What was it? A firecracker. The opponent is almost defeated, but he gets back to his feet and uses his cross to get more power. His assistant is holding the cross, and the guy makes these moves like power surges through him. Yes, yes, like this and again. And then the guy with the magic statue grabs another artifact. He's also got a magic bowl. He rips some hair off the opponent's head and puts it into his bowl. The bowl looks like a regular dog food bowl. Whoa, whoa, fire. Stan, shoot the fire. Did you get that on camera? Fire! Is that it? Did he win? Look, the fire is burning. It looks like he's burned his opponent's soul, no less, by burning his hair. And the poor guy can't get up anymore. Of course, it's not real wrestling, but the crowd is absolutely thrilled. Even the wrestlers themselves seem to believe in their magical powers, and the kids were watching with their mouths open the whole time. The show is so sincere that at some point you want to believe it yourself. That's what Africa is like. It's not very sophisticated. People take joy in simple things, and their joy is pure and sincere. They live their simple life and enjoy it. And that, my friends, is something that might be good for us to learn from them.